Hello and welcome to Tony's Bonsai. Today I'm going to be doing some work on this Mugo Pine. It's quite an interesting tree. I picked this up from a garden centre last spring. I had a very good go at killing it. I repotted it at the wrong time of year. It turns out you're supposed to repot Mugo Pines in the autumn, but I did it in the spring. It dropped almost all of its needles. They all went yellow and brown, dropped. And since then I've just been feeding it, looking after it, watering it, and it's come back with this lovely green foliage. All the needles are green and it's nice and healthy. What I also did was a major trunk chop at the same time as repotting it, so I really stressed it out. However, I'm happy it's made it and it's now in a position for me to move forward. So I've spent some time looking for the front of this tree, and if you can see these pieces of tape, they're there to mark up the whorls. And so I need to prune some of the branches off to avoid inverse taper. But first of all I want to show you the different options for the two fronts. So we'll do that now. You can see here the major chop that I did last year. This was just a thick branch that came out, and it was similar in size to this one coming up here. It's healing over, it's doing well. But one of the things I do like about this tree is the way that the base of the tree flares out to this one side. So it's got some really nice thickness at the base, and this is where the tree is. This is, as a bonsai, this is what it's all about. Now I've selected this as the front. This is my marker, and the main new apex of the tree, which is this one, from this angle it moves towards us. So if I rotate the tree round through 180 degrees, you'll be able to see the back of the tree. And I did contemplate having this as the front. It's also got a wound where a branch was removed. My problem from this side is the apex goes backwards, so it's as if the tree leans away from us, which I'm not that keen on. It's kind of classic Japanese bonsai sort of design, is that the tree leans more towards us and moves towards us rather than moves away. This gives me a feel that the tree's falling over. So one of the ways that we deal with that is by tilting the whole pot. And as you can see down here, what we've done is I placed it on a piece of wood. So this has tilted the orientation of the tree, and when it comes to repotting this in a couple of years time, this tree can just be repotted at this new potting angle. Job's a good one. So the next job, as I mentioned just a bit earlier, is to go in and remove the whorls. Whorls on pine trees are a bit of a nightmare, and instead of me looking around for them and missing them, I've just put these bits of tape on. So I'm going to look at the front of the tree here. I'll reveal this whorl there, and what we have is branch coming up, branch continuing up, and two side branches opposite each other forming a sort of bar branch. And if that's left unchecked, this will swell into a large knuckle of inverse taper, and that is what we call a whorl. I know I'm telling you what you already know here to a certain extent, but it's just worth mentioning for anyone who doesn't know. The options I've got are to remove one or two of these. The other options I've got are to remove it, for example, to here, and leave a length and turn that into deadwood. So I could produce a gin out of any of these branches. However, for this one, I'm kind of thinking on the fly here, which way do I go with that? Which one do I remove? What do you think, Dad? I like to listen to my dad's input because, you know.
Well, I'm one for cutting it back,
Yep.
and making it smaller. So I'd be looking at getting rid maybe of the whole of that.
Yeah, because we do have, the other good thing about that is we've got another whorl here. You see how it goes up, 2 more branches. So this is a problem to be dealt with. However, if all of that goes, it's not a problem. However, that could then be a nice piece of, that would be a nice piece of deadwood, because it'd have multiple branches coming up at the top.
What you could do is cut it here,
Yep.
and then have a look at it once you've done the rest of the tree, and then remove the whole lot or just leave it there for deadwood. At least you've got the option then.
Yeah, if I cut it here, obviously everything above it's dead.
You just lose all this then up here, don't you?
Yeah, I would.
And it's whether you want to lose that. But it does seem a very long branch, that.
It does, it does. So I could come in here like this. I can come in high and then come back down.
Of course you can.
So I can come in here.
And then have a look at it afterwards.
That's got to go, that piece. There's no doubt about that. So that piece had to go. We've got a nice little branch here. So I could do the same thing and cut this here. But then I'm hoping for some, yeah, I'm hoping for buds from here and here in the spring. So I don't really need to worry about this top section. Which means that this can go here. There. Now, whether I want to gin these 2 little stubs or just prune them back clean,
you can think about that later.
I can think about that later.
Yeah.
But they're in the right place. And look how sticky that is. All the pine resin is kind of flowing out at the end, even at this time of year. So that's one sort of whorl dealt with, and these whorls need dealing with, and that's why I like to put the tape on. Oh, it's a shame they don't have smell-o-vision. I love the smell of that pine resin. Right, so we've got a whorl here, and this one is a proper whorl because it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 branches all emanating. They're spiraling around like a bicycle, and you just cannot leave that. So it's the same thing. Again, we've got another whorl higher up here. So we need to do something up here. I'm going to take the top off. Top's gone. Top's gone. There we go. So I'm leaving options again for possible deadwood. And deadwood's always better if it comes and then branches and it's not just one spike. It just looks more believable and more realistic. Another whorl here. And at this stage, with these whorls, it's about sort of removing future problems, more so than kind of styling the tree. Got a whorl here. And it works great, this tape idea. Especially when you're trying to record a video.
We turn it around this way and then we can see it easier there.
Yeah, yeah, whatever works best for
the cameraman.
For the footage. So here, yeah, again, so we've got a couple of nice branches up here. Got a definite whorl here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and the main trunk and apex coming up, so they can't all stay. This one's already been cut, so this is one where I can just, instead of leaving any stumps or anything, I can just cut the whorl right back. So the thickest of the branches can be removed. For example, this one. I can come in. Can you see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been cut back flush. So that'll just heal over there. It'll create a wound, but that'll sort itself out in the next couple of years.
It adds character, doesn't it?
It does add character, and on a pine tree especially, I'm absolutely fine with that. But there's still a bar branch now. So we've got a branch here, a branch there, coming out opposite each other, which I don't like. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side.
That's out there.
Remove that. What's this one here? That's a whorl, isn't it? And the decision is always, do you keep the thinner side branch or the thicker kind of apex and main trunk? And you just have to make these decisions as you go along. Normally you're better removing the thicker one. Certainly the thicker of the branches, or you go for the main apex to be removed. And there's no hard and fast rules. You just look at the overall design and shape of the tree and work your way through. So I don't see another gin being necessary there. Although there's a nice bit of movement to this branch here. If I just show you that from the side. See that natural movement in this? So there is some movement there. So that would make a nice little deadwood feature, or it can be left as a branch because it's quite thin. So my tendency is to leave that. I'm going to work my way through the tree now just for a couple of minutes, making a few more cuts, creating some deadwood possibly, and I'll come back to you in 5 minutes when I've done a little bit more work. Okay, let's move in. You can see here I did create a couple of little bits of deadwood, nothing major, a little bit of a cross up there, a few little bits and bobs, and I've removed really any problems, but I've left lots of growth around the top, lots of nice green growth to allow these candles to really push in the spring, which is what I want, because this area down here, for example, I want this to grow, because this is sort of, eventually that's the canopy down there. I like these lower branches, they've got some good natural movement to them, and I see that as the eventual tree. Quite a stubby small tree really, maybe not show him, but not far off. And I've got a little Mugo pine next, so I'm going to switch this tree out. I'm happy with the work on that. It's getting there, considering I'd given it up as a dead one. It's on its way. And what we've got here is a cheap little garden centre Mugo mops that I picked up for probably a £5 or something like that. I didn't pay a lot for it at all. I think it's grafted at the base, and this is the kind of material you can pick this up anywhere in the world. Garden centres grow them, and I've had a quick look through it with my dad. He's got some ideas in terms of the design, so he's got the cutters and he's going to go in there.
There's a natural fork here.
Right.
There's a natural fork.
So the trunk comes up, it hits a natural fork.
And then divides. So if we take one half of the fork off.
Right, that's good.
Like that. We can maybe clean that up afterwards. And then at this side, the tree does actually go to the right a bit, and then left a bit. And then if we're going to cut some off the top, we'll leave those two and cut back because we don't want a whorl at the top.
Yep, nice, nice. I like the idea of using the natural movement of the base of the trunk that goes to the right and then cutting to a branch that moves to the left. I like that idea. And then, as you say, just pruning the top just to get some shape into it. Simple stuff, but...
Does it need any dye back, or...?
No, not with a pine, no. You just go in there and do. Prune on instinct.
Boom!
On instinct.
Now then, that's reduced it a bit.
Yeah,
Let's have a look lower down. There's plenty of green on it. Plenty
We've
of
got
branches.
plenty of green and plenty of buds. It's going to be full of candles in the spring, so there's no need to worry about the health of this tree. It's been well fed, well watered. You can just kind of express yourself on this and
I think that's it now.
go for it.
I think we're done.
Yep,
That's the front.
there's the front. And then this is one now to, again, it's just left for another year or two really to thicken up. It's in plenty of nice bonsai soil, and then you see where you are in 12 months time. It's got that fork up at the top there. This is where the whorl has been removed there, the other branches. So we're still dealing with potential future problems. Nice. I've never found pines the most instinctive tree to work on. I think they're much harder than, you know, a hawthorn or a maple or anything like that. But it's really fun learning, you know, Mugo, Scots pine, Japanese black pine. That process I find really enjoyable, and it's slowly beginning to sink in, you know, how we control needle length, how we use pinching to work with the candles. And I'll come back to both of these trees in the spring when they're ready to do a bit of candle pinching. And yeah, as always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.